Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to talk through why nutrition is important for marathon runners, what we can do nutrition wise to really optimize our performance when it comes to running, and different practical tips as well that we can do kind of before a race, during a race, and after a race as well. So let's get into it. So, three main reasons why nutrition is important for marathon running. The first one is energy. The better our nutrition is, the more energy we are going to have on our long runs. The second is muscle recovery. So if we have proper nutrition and proper protein intake as well, after our runs during the week as well, before, our long runs and easy runs too, it's really going to speed up our recovery, make the running more enjoyable and reduce the chances of injury. And it goes without saying as well, a good diet is going to help us lose weight, maintain weight, and keep the weight off as well. So having a good nutrition plan will really help us do all three of this. And let's just move on to the next slide. So just a quick story on kind of how nutrition helped me. So I started running about 3 years ago, roughly, 2002. At that point, I was 95 kilos. Energy levels wasn't the best. Performance levels wasn't the best, and you can probably see the difference here with the two pictures. When I started dialing down on my nutrition, everything changed. Obviously, I was a lot slimmer and trimmer, but performance increased, energy levels increased, overall mood got better, sickness reduced. And I can't vouch enough for good nutrition, not just for running performance, but just for everyday functionality. And let's talk about, I suppose, nutrition overall before we get into the details of how we can optimize this for running performance. So, my main principle is when it comes to nutrition, stick to nutrient dense food that is high in nutrients and low in calories, and do your best to avoid calorie dense food, which is usually ultra processed food, your white bread, your fast food, your sweets, your chocolate, your refined carbs. The reason being is these are low in nutrients and high in calories. And another rule of thumb as well is always eat for the purpose of filling your body with nutrients as opposed to filling your body with calories. And with this mindset, you are going to go for food that is good for you, both from a nutritional level, but also from a low calorie level as well. And let's talk about how we can fuel effectively and holistically. So there's a few different types of fuel that is going to help us when it comes to marathon running. We have our carbohydrates, we have water, we have electrolytes, and then we have supplements as well. Carbohydrates are super important because they're our main energy source. And especially on our long runs, we want to be carb loading to make sure that we have adequate levels of energy to carry us through on our long runs or on race day too. When it comes to carbohydrates, I always recommend to stick to the more wholesome and whole food options, which is like your brown rice, your brown pasta, brown bread. The reason being is this contains fiber, and fiber slows down the release of energy, making it more sustainable and stops energy crashes as well, where we're going to have, quick bursts of energy, drops right down, and then we're hungry again. The next thing we're going to focus on then is our water intake. So we want to make sure that we are properly hydrated, and we want to make sure, especially on hot days as well, or if we're kind of sweaty like myself, we want to make sure that we're taking in adequate amounts of water before and during our runs. Same with electrolytes as well. So there's a misconception that dehydration just comes from a lack of water. It comes from both a lack of water and electrolytes as well, because we lose these during runs when we sweat and, release fluid, release sodium, and all that good stuff. So we want to make sure that we get a balance of both kind of pre-run, during run, and post-run as well. Protein as well is going to be super important for muscle recovery, muscle maintenance, and just reducing overall soreness from running. Then we have our micronutrients as well, which are going to do wonders for bodily functions. Essentially just moving every day, feeling good in ourselves, positive hormone release, but also improving our immune system as well and preventing the risk of illness. And then we have supplementation too, which is our energy gels, our protein shakes as well. And this is what we should be taking if we are not getting enough micronutrients or macronutrients from our current diet. So what can we do kind of pre-race? The main things we can do first and foremost is get this thing out of the way so you can see is really carb load. So kind of carb load the day or night before with slow releasing carbohydrates, definitely 2 hours before bed so it doesn't disrupt sleep. And just have these consistently through the day so I'm not feeling bloated. And that's going to give us a steady release of energy when it comes to running the next day. Another thing too, we want to make sure that we are properly hydrating, as I said in the last slide, both on electrolytes and water. And really play around with your nutrition strategy pre-race too. Some people like to eat the night before, some people like to eat the morning before as well. It really depends on how your stomach operates during the run. If you have a stomach like me, eating before runs are not a good idea because it just leads to needing to go to the toilet. But everyone is different too, so do play around with this and see what works for you. And nutrition during a race. So this is where we need to be kind of consistently fueling our bodies. So as we run, we're going to go through different energy systems and we're going to burn through our carbohydrates as these are our main source of energy. So we want to be replenishing these before our run or during our runs even. And the main thing is we want to always be replenishing before we actually feel tired. If we leave it too late and we start to bonk and then take in our carbohydrates, we're going to be playing catch up for the whole entire race. So we want to make sure that we're smart about this and kind of be consistently fueling. For me, it's every 30 minutes I will take a gel, but for everyone it's going to be different. But I would recommend taking a gel between every 30 to 60 minutes in that window during your long run just to make sure you're properly topped up with carbohydrates and energy. And we want to be sipping on water throughout the race and electrolytes and take caffeine towards the end as well. I love these caffeine gels because they give us a nice little boost when we start to feel tired and enhance our performance as well. And psychologically, it's always something to look forward to in the tail end of the run when it starts to get really hard. And there's different kind of supplements we can go for, kind of carb mixes here, which dissolve in water, Dicks. We can go for energy drinks like Lucozade or Gatorade. And even Jelly Babies or Squares bars as well are going to fill us with energy during the run. I don't recommend these in kind of normal daily diets, but if we're going to be burning or if we need fast releasing energy, they're a good source of this. And the nutrition post race even, you know, the main goal here is going to be recovery. So we want to make sure that we have proper protein intake after our run, and this can be really challenging, especially when we're on our long runs. We can, our milk can be dehydrated, it can be dry, it can be hard to digest food. So having some quick digesting protein, like protein shakes or protein yogurts as well, is a good way to get protein into the body and then kick off that recovery process early on. Then about 2 hours after a run, we want to make sure that we are replenishing our carbohydrates, glycogen stores, even I always struggle with that, and protein as well. So having a good proper meal, like we see here on the right hand side, will do wonders for our recovery as well. And then we want to be drinking plenty of fluid during and after the run as well to make sure we're rehydrating ourselves. So some practical tips we can take away with ourselves. We're going to use these in our marathon training block. Is schedule time to prepare your food after your long runs. When you finish your long run, you will not want to do anything. You are going to be exhausted. So just make it as easy as possible for yourself just to have your food prepared and ready to consume so it's not weighing over yourself after the run. The next is keep hydrated with water and electrolytes consistently during the week, before your run, during your run as well. Just keep sipping on water and electrolytes. Carb load before your run with good sources of carbohydrates. Remember your fiber rich options. And get 1 to 2 grams of protein per kg of body weight to make sure that we're recovering proper. All we get as close as possible to the 2 grams if we can, especially in a marathon training block when we're going to put our body under a lot of stress. So make sure we do prioritize that to help foster recovery.